What's up, guys? My name is Jake Castillo. As Steven mentioned, quick background on me. I did my undergrad at UCSB and then went to grad school at USC. After that, I worked in management consulting for about 8 years until I entered the startup space, where I worked in an ed tech company called Study Buddy. It was there that I met my co-founder, Zach Yadagari, and we left to start CalAI. I currently serve as our CMO, and yeah. As for what we want to cover today, there's 4 main things. The first is how we think about distribution. The second is why we chose influencer marketing as the primary marketing strategy for CalAI. The third is what actually drives conversions with influencers. And the fourth is how we turned influencers into a cash printing machine and how you guys can too. But before we do that, I want to lay down some ground rules. So at the end of the day, the purpose of this presentation is to help you guys and provide you all with value. I don't want this to be a presentation so much as a conversation. So if I'm saying something and it doesn't make sense, just raise your hand on the spot and we can address it right then and there, because if you have a question, I'm sure other people do too. And the second is, if I give you an example and that example is unclear or doesn't really resonate with you, ask for a follow-up. I've been doing this for a long time, so I've got plenty. Yeah, all right, let's dive right in. So, choosing the right channel. Before you can choose the right channel, I think it's important first to come to terms with what I think are really the only 3 available channels to you today. The first being UGC, the second being influencers, and the third being paid ads. And with that, I want to make sure we're talking the same language, so let me just recap what I think each of these 3 channels are. UGC is when you hire someone to create a dedicated brand page for you. Every video they post to this page is about your brand. They are all hard-selling videos, and you're relying solely on the algorithm to get you views. There is no existing audience, which is a good thing can be a good thing because you can post one video, it can go mega viral, and it can generate a ton of revenue for your brand. In the same vein, though, you could post 100 videos and none of the videos generate any money for you. As a result, it can be fairly cheap. You could get 30 videos for like $1,000. And you could pay like 100 creators to create videos and none of them work. So it's very high risk, high reward. Whereas with influencers, you are working with creators that have an existing audience. As a result, it's much more expensive. Instead of $1,000 for 30 videos, you may be looking at $1,000 for one video. But with that, you do have some guarantee of reach. What you're really paying for with influencers is their audience and the trust they have with that audience. It is also super scalable because if you find an influencer that converts well, you can find 100 other influencers just like that person and run the same promo and expect similar-ish results. And you still can benefit from the asymmetric upside that exists with UGC if one of these influencer videos goes mega viral. Whereas with paid ads, there is no asymmetric upside because with paid ads, you're creating the content and you're paying a platform like Meta to distribute it. It's very straightforward. So every dollar you put in, you may get $1.20 back, $1.50 back, which is good because it's super predictable and super scalable. With that in mind, I like to think of these 3 channels on a spectrum. On one side, you've got UGC, which is very risky but low cost. You get asymmetric upside. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got paid ads, which is not at all risky, high cost, very predictable, and also very scalable, with influencers falling somewhere in the middle. So why did we choose influencers for CalAI? Well, when we looked at our situation, it was pretty obvious that influencers were the right move because the niche that we wanted to pursue was the health and fitness niche. And within that niche, we had access to super affordable CPMs. we could get seamless integrations, and all of the posts had viral potential. Now, the question is, why were we able to get affordable CPMs? And it really just comes down to a supply and demand thing. So if you guys go on social media, I'm sure you'll notice that basically everyone is a health and fitness influencer today. But there's really only so many brands available to these influencers. You've got apparel, supplements, and that's about it. So when we came into the space, we noticed that there were all of these health and fitness creators that didn't have access to brand deals. So we could come in and offer them 50-cent to $3 CPMs, and they would take it, which was great for us. Secondly, the videos that we wanted them to make, they were already making. These creators were already making what I eat in a day videos, best low-calorie snacks, how to gain weight, and they were showing their food in these videos. So they were able to integrate Cal.ai into their videos super seamlessly. It wasn't like this monumental task we were asking them to do. And as a result, the videos they created didn't look like sponsored videos. It wasn't like a hard-selling video like, hey guys, let me tell you about Cal.ai. It was a pretty seamless thing. Next, a lot of the videos that our creators were making had ultra-viral potential because people love a transformation story. They love crazy progress videos and things of that nature, which was perfect for Cal.ai. That most sponsored posts are the lowest performing videos for an influencer. That's never been the case with Cal.ai. Oftentimes, the Cal.ai videos can be the highest performing posts for an influencer. The result of all of this was, before we knew it, yeah.
Like those views, are they all organic?
Correct. Yes.
You never put like $1 behind the
No. We don't boost posts. We will use influencer posts for paid ads, but we don't like whitelist. We run them as paid ads themselves.
You still have the creative as an ads that you put later.
Correct. But honestly, like we have had success with paid ads, but it hasn't really been through recycling organic posts, just because what performs well organically isn't necessarily going to perform well through paid, because if you're doing a paid post, you're paying for that reach, so you might as well make sure that it's like a hard selling video, whereas with an organic video, the key is making it seamless and natural. So at the start, maybe you can recycle, but if you really want to scale your paid ads, I'd recommend using dedicated creatives for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you give them the brief for those creatives, or do they come up with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the thing that I always tell my team is we are not the creators, right? They are creators for a reason, meaning they're very good at what they do. I'm good at what I do. I don't want them telling me how to run Cal.ai. We shouldn't tell them how to create great content. Question back there?
How are you able to attribute app installs to one specific influencer or video?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we'll touch on it in this presentation at the end. But the one thing you just have to accept is that attribution is always going to be murky, especially like the more successful your app becomes, because one, these videos have a very long tail, so they'll still generate views a year, 2 years after the fact. But what it's going to come down to is just like tracking it early on and being able to tell like what type of video causes a spike, and then being able to extrapolate that out moving forward as things get murkier and murkier. But cool. Yeah, so within 18 months, we were working with over 300 influencers. We're the #1 app in the health and fitness space, and we're on track to surpass $50 million in annual recurring revenue. Question?
Yeah, so in the 70 million view specifically, or 40 million, what was the capture in the payout of the creator? Like, did you pay this gate, the creator?
No, when we sign with creators, oftentimes it's a flat rate. So those deals at, I don't know, it may have been like a couple $1,000s or something, and that's what I meant by asymmetric upside, because you can pay maybe $1,000 for a video, that video goes mega viral, gets you 100 million views, but you still only paid $1,000.
So the second creator, because I know that guy, so he's paid with a fixed rate, or?
I would have to look at his exact contract. Like I said, we work with over 300 influencers, and at this stage, I'm not as involved, but I don't know exactly what his contract terms were. But oftentimes, if we don't do a flat rate, there is a view ceiling.
Usually captured at what stage?
I mean, it depends on the creator, but I mean, it's probably in your best interest to cap it because that could get pricey. In the same way, there's asymmetric potential of you making money if there's no ceiling. There's asymmetric potential in you having to pay out that creator, which could bankrupt you, especially if that video doesn't convert.
Is it in-house or with an agency?
We do everything in-house. Yeah, Cal, it's one of our core tenets. No one's going to care about Cal AI more than the Cal AI employees, so we like to do everything ourselves. Yeah. Yes.
Quick question about, so you mentioned earlier kind of the 3 channels that you focus on. Organic wasn't up there, but I know you guys have done a lot of work with influencers and things of the like. What was the decision making around, okay, we're going to pursue not to invest ultra heavily in organic, and we're going to go hard on influencers or paid forms of getting that media?
Yeah, so we experimented with everything, and for whatever reason, organic UGC just didn't get the viral pickup that you need for UGC to work. Because UGC, ultimately, say you hire 10 creators, 9 of them are going to be unprofitable, and 99% of the videos will be unprofitable, but you're just hoping for that one video that goes viral and generates you enough revenue to compensate for all of the unprofitable creators and videos. We just never saw that profitable video come for Cal AI. And then we did see it with influencers, so we just doubled down on that.
I guess also in addition to that, your own organic brand content.
I mean, that's for scale, right? If we wanted to move really fast, and if the bottleneck was the amount of content we could produce, we were always going to be capped. Whereas if we could hire out through influencers the content, it'd allow us to move much faster. And speed is the only delta today. Cool. So what actually drives conversions with an influencer post? First, I want to cover the things that don't matter. Followers. I don't care if you have 10 million followers or 100 million followers. That doesn't tell me anything about what you'll do for Cal AI. Second, results for unrelated products. Like I said, we operate in the health and fitness niche. So if I'm talking to an agent or an influencer and they're talking about generating $1 million for Gymshark or $1 million for Young LA, that is awesome for them, but doesn't mean anything for Cal AI. Third, previous accomplishments. It's really, really cool if you were on the Forbes 30 under 30 list or a New York Times best-selling author, but that doesn't mean that you'll drive conversions for Cal AI. So not something that I pay attention to. The things that I do pay attention to, though, are your views, because ultimately I'm paying for exposure, and views is how I get that exposure. If you have 100 million followers and get 10,000 views per video, that's a red flag. Second, comment sections. You'll see some comment sections that are, say it's a girl influencer, and it's fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. And then you'll see another influencer where their comment section is filled with people saying, "Thank you so much for posting this video, you saved my life." Those 2 comment sections are not the same. One will convert, one will not. It's probably pretty obvious as to which one will convert. The third touches on what I mentioned earlier. When you pay for influencers, you're paying for 2 things. You're paying for their audience and the trust they have with that audience. So you need to make sure that your influencer has a cult-like following, because if they don't, then you're not getting the second thing that you're paying for with an influencer, and that's the trust they have with that audience. The best way to suss that out is through the comment section. Some things to keep in mind: views do not equal installs. So we are talking about the payment cap for certain videos, and you need that because some videos are not going to convert. You can get 100 million views on a video. That doesn't mean that it's going to convert. Also, with that, you need to remember that you're paying for conversions, not just reach. Views are great, but those views have to convert. If they don't, you're wasting your money. Third thing, and it's on here twice because it's so important, that's the comment section. As you scale and as you get more and more views, attribution is going to get harder and harder to track. but the comment section will always be your source of truth. You will see, are people in the comment section talking about your app? Are they asking questions about your app? And in the early days, you can use that info, extrapolate out to know like, oh, this is a high-performing video because the comment section looks like this. So even when you can't tell if it's a high-performing video because you're generating 10 million views a day, you can still trust that the comment section will hold true. Now, how can you use this info to turn it into a cash printing machine? Because at the end of the day, most influencer marketing does not scale. You'll see a lot of companies dabble in influencer marketing. They will run a couple of promos, they don't convert, and then they stop, and it was just seen as a failed experiment. And that doesn't have to be the case. The key, though, to ensure that that's not the case is to stick to these 4 things. The first is if you see traction with an influencer, you need to sign that influencer to a long-term deal. Ultimately, like when you test an influencer, you're paying for signal. Once you get that signal, it's your job not to lose it. The best way to ensure that doesn't happen is sign them to a long-term engagement. Second, you need to streamline your process. There are way too many people that I see try to scale their influencer programs and handle everything over email. If you do that, you will never scale. The second an influencer responds to you, you need to jump on a call with them. And on that call, it's going to be really obvious very quickly whether or not they're going to work with you. If they're not going to work with you, great. End the call, move on. If they are going to work with you, also great. Sign them to a deal, move on. The key here is speed. Third, track. Once you get past like probably 10-ish influencers, things are going to get messy really fast. So you need to make sure that you have your systems buttoned up. You have to have a system in place that will allow you to track deliverables, views, comment sections, and overall performance. If you don't, it's going to be very chaotic and you're always going to be bottlenecked by your own organizational ineptitude. And then fourth is you need to become very comfortable with data science, because in the first couple months of you launching an app, you'll see a very clear correlation between a post going up and the spike in install volume. But as I mentioned earlier, over time, there's just too much data pollution that you're not going to see those spikes unless you get a 70 million view video. It's pretty obvious at that point, but most of your videos aren't going to generate 70 million views. So you need to early on see what the comment section of a high-performing video looks like. You need to see what types of videos and what type of integrations lead to spikes and installs. You need to capture that signal, and you need to be comfortable taking informed bets based on that info. And yeah, that's about everything. We can open this up now for Q&A. If I don't get to any of your questions, feel free to message me on LinkedIn or Twitter, X, and yeah, I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Yeah, let's do this thing.
Cool. I'll walk around and take questions.
Thank you. You mentioned that views does not equal to installs. Usually, what is the benchmark ratio between views and installs, which you aimed for?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's really going to depend on your app, because some apps are going to have a higher view to install ratio just because they're going to see that integration. I need to download that right now, whereas another app may have a longer tail and it may not be a 1-to-1 ratio. For CalAI, it's in the early days, it was about every 1,000 views would generate us 10 installs. Now that's changed over time, and honestly, it's hard to know at this point just because there's so much data out there and so many contributing factors that it's impossible to know. But in the early days, it was 10 to 1, 10 to 1,000.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
We have time for 2 questions, 2 more. So who wants it the most? The highest hand will get.
Thank you so much. I was wondering how you select how do you discover new influencers, especially in UGC? How do you do that? And if you can share some best practices and what is the process on onboarding them, and evaluate them through the first contents, because I guess there are a lot of content creators that maybe gonna, let's say, churn, and maybe they're not gonna produce any content anymore. So how do you do that? And how do you deal with that? Do you have also a dedicated team on that?
Okay, yeah, there's a lot there, so I'm probably gonna forget one of the questions, so follow up with me. The first one is how to find an influencer, right? Okay, so yeah, that's the amazing thing about the For You page. You can create a brand new Instagram or TikTok account and just like scroll through people in that niche. I just search like health and fitness. And as you're scrolling, the For You page is just gonna give you more and more of the content you engage in. And yeah, that's like the best way to like cater your For You page. Just create a new account, and like it's a great excuse to doom scroll. It's like, I'm doing work here. Can't get mad at me. The second question was, yeah, okay. So it depends on the influencer size. We do like a 3-pronged approach. We're gonna DM them on their social channels. If they have an email, we'll email them. If they have there have been times like with health and fitness influencers, they have like private coaching. I'll sign up for the coaching just to get on a call with them. Get scrappy, find you can usually find their mom or something like in their comment section, like message the mom, like do whatever it takes. And then if we have a dedicated team, right? Yeah, we have a very large team at this point. At the start, it was, just me and my co-founders. But now, we have like dedicated pods of virtual assistants, influencer managers, and all that good stuff.
How do you onboard them? Like, what are the first steps?
The influencer onboarding process? That could be a whole other presentation. It's a very efficient process, and it's all automated. Like it's, because that's like our goal. We were onboarding like 20 influencers a week. So we needed to be very fast with it. And it was, basically we got to the point where we were clicking a button and they were fully onboarded. Like just generating contracts and all that stuff just with the button click. And then like they'd get like Slack, a group chat would be created, and they'd get templated messages and the content brief and all that stuff.
And the money, were you roughly like 20 per week, 30 months? And the money?
Oh, the churn. Yeah. So the goal, right? If we do our job right, we're never churning with our influencers, right? Because one, that they should be converting well for us, and two, we take pride in we want our influencer partnerships to be like the best brand they've ever worked with. We try and make things super easy, and as you saw, like the integrations are super easy to do and seamless. So our goal is never to churn, but we probably churn like 5% of our 5 to 2% of our influencers every month.
No, I was not really asking about churn, more when you decide.
So the influencers usually only post like a couple times a month for us, maybe like 4 posts a month, and we review every month. So if we've got like these, it's called a renewal score. If they it's like this proprietary metric that we created. If they don't hit that, then we will cut them.
And what percentage do you think you are cutting?
It's a pretty low percentage. I don't know it exactly, but the goal, and we try and get it lower and lower every month, because like if we are churning someone because they're not performing, that's like our fault. It's not the influencer's fault. We set them up to fail. So that's an indictment of us and our systems and processes.
Okay. I think we got to cut it.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
like that,
good.
though. Sneaking in those extra questions. That's what's up. Jake, well done.